And welcome to Fatboy FadeAway Sports here, Sunday morning, Memorial Day, Memorial Weekend. Tyler McGurk with me as always, episode 176. Hope everybody's having a wonderful morning out there. Tyler McGurk, how we doing?
I'm doing good. Happy Memorial Day or Memorial Day weekend to everybody. Enjoy your day off on Monday if you get that. I hope you do. You deserve it. I'm doing well.
You actually get this day off?
I do get Monday off. I'm very excited about it. I'm very excited. What about you?
Yeah, I get it off. I get no school on Memorial Day. Get that off for sure. So I never know with your job. Your boss always seems to surprise you once in a while.
No, we get the federal holidays off. That's the one thing we do get off.
If he's listening, he's like, "Whoa, buddy."
Tell your friend to watch his tongue. I had something happen to me yesterday. I was walking out to my car, and I was in my Brewers hat. And it's just a pet peeve of mine. This guy gets a nice Mariners hat, and I just instantly lost, all respect for the guy when it comes to sports. Does that happen? Maybe just miss some, but I'm like, don't even say anything unless you're 100% sure you know what the logo is. You're like, do you feel that way? Are you just like, whatever? It just bugs me when I was walking out. I had my Brewers hat on for Little League going to the game. He goes, "Oh, nice Mariners hat."
Yeah, you got you on the radio.
It's like this cringe thing that comes out. Not going to say anything about sports to you.
Yes, you probably do have to think a little twice about that. I don't know if I've actually had that happen to me. I know I was thinking this kid was walking out of school the other day with his mom behind him, and I was like, "See you later, Blake." And then I was like, "Oh crap, that's Lennox." I was like, "That's So I've done that. So I don't know. So it's hard for me to judge a hat on it when I can't even get the guy. When I know his name, but I said it wrong, and I've had it the whole year. So that's
a good way of looking at it.
I was like, "Damn it, it's Lennox." His mom's probably like, "What the hell?" But anyway, so I had that happen to me. I was thinking about some of the local angles this week for our podcast, and I didn't put it on the headline before we get into it, but our local guys out here, baseball wise, are struggling. Torkelson and Andrew Vaughn are really struggling right now. I think Vaughn's under 200. I think Torkelson's close to it. He might have I think he's rated as one of the worst players right now in the league that plays as much as he does. Not the best, just not the best start here for our Sonoma County ball players. And high picks, first pick overall, third pick overall. So
and then the Andrew Vaughn interference is capitalizing it all off. What'd you think of that call? That was an interesting little.
No, if just real quick, if anybody's joining us here, we're going to get into game one here. Look back here in just a second here too. So, that was what a terrible play. I saw Ryan. The guy, I think it is from out there in Twitter land out there. Nice guy.
Memphis Twitter land.
Yeah, he says he does umpire, and he said it was. I was just like, I don't know. That was the probably the worst idea of the rule. It didn't have any effect on anything whatsoever. I didn't see any intent. I guess he has to be more reasonable, but he was going this way. The guy's coming in. I don't really know. I don't see how he gets out of the way as easy.
The guy was under the fly ball for 3 seconds too. It wasn't like he barely got there. I'd understand maybe if it affected the play at all. And the guy was camped under it for, I don't know. To end the game like that is just.
If anybody doesn't know what we're talking about, it was a White Sox-Orioles game this week. It was basically runners on first and second. It pops out to the shortstop, but they called interference on Andrew Vaughn at second base. They called him out at the same time. So that was the third out of the inning, and that was the third out of the game. And White Sox lost by 2 runs. So they did have the tying run up at the plate. So that was why people. But it is the White Sox.
There was 2 guys on base.
That's why I said there's 2 guys on. So a home run would have won the game for them. Yeah. They had the Whitty run on there. So that was kind of one of those controversial plays. That happened that night. We were on 7th inning on Thursday night. We were able to get into that. I think that was a Thursday night game. Maybe not. I believe that's what it was. Or maybe that was Friday night actually.
I'm not sure.
The other thing I wanted to get into was the games right now in the playoffs, right? The Mavericks, T-Wolves games, both ones have been pretty good. You have Celtics and Pacers, 2 of their games have been pretty good out of 3. But I feel like, is it just me or does it, and I think Savage brought up, it seems like they are going every other day more than I remember in the past. I don't know. Maybe they're not. Maybe it was every other day more. I didn't take the time to look it up. But it does feel like their games are coming in quicker at us, or teams are just blowing them out right now. And that's what it seems like at the same time. But I remember the Warriors Thunder game. I think they're game 7 was on Memorial Day. back, a few years back, then 2015. So maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's because of the regular season they push it back a little farther too or something.
Definitely going deeper into the season. I'm loving the playoffs, how it's set up. Like, I remember they used to do like the 40 days and 40 nights kind of theme, but it felt like once we got to this part of the playoffs, it seemed like there were days where no one played. I love having a game every day where you could look forward to something or wake up to something if you sleep in on Sundays. But yeah, I'm loving this playoffs, how it's going. Obviously, the injuries have dampened the competitive spirit of one of the series, but
yeah, but you're also seeing. I also like, to me, the it's interesting to watch how the T-Wolves are trying to finish games, opposed to how the Mavericks are trying to finish games, and how the Pacers are trying to finish games compared to the Celtics. Because you see some of these teams are so new, and some have a little bit more experience than others. Some don't have the pedigree out of any championship, so it's interesting to see how they're having to, like, this different dynamic when it comes to actually winning a championship. And that's why I wanted to, like, I thought it'd be kind of fun to do like a look back a little bit at game ones, because I feel like we've had a couple of this playoffs. I'm not gonna, you know what I mean? I felt like we had some like ones where, I guess my thought with game one is I'm thinking, it's like, how impactful is that game one loss, especially if I'm underlining this part and circling it and whatever, the heartbreak fashion of it, not just like you lose by 8 or something like that and you had the lead by, I'm talking like a heartbreak game one loss, and looking back how that actually plays out in a series. Do you, I mean, before we get into the games, what's your initial thought of that? Is that like, that's game changer?
Oh, they definitely, it changed, especially if you're the underdog in one of those heartbreaking game one losses, even though you're on the road, it still seems like it plays this big factor where you're like, that was our chance to get one on the road. And it's tough to bounce back. Like we saw the Sixers in the first series lose that heartbreaker in game one, and they couldn't win game two. Then the Pacers did it again. The Pacers did it in game one against the Celtics. They blew a lead in game two, wasn't a challenge. So it just, obviously game three, they fought back. But it just seems like these game ones, if you blow a lead, they're tough to recover from. And we've seen it in other sports, like your A's in 1988 against the Dodgers. Like, that's a heartbreaking game one loss. Like, it's tough to recover. And you lose those games. You need to capitalize on games you should win, in the playoffs especially.
Thank you for bringing up the A's one. That one, thankfully, I was like 4-4, so that one didn't. Never get that highlight will ever get out of the way, but yes, that. So yeah, comment in if you got any game ones that you like that you had there that you remember that stand out to you. All right, so that you brought up a baseball example there, along with the thought process of what that heartbreak kind of feeling like. And you're right, the A's were done after that one. What are some? Do you have one that initially sticks out to you, like a game one that you remember?
I mean, obviously the Spurs versus the Warriors in the second round, the Ginobili shot was a heartbreaker. But the Warriors did one to the Spurs when the Spurs were beating the Warriors' butts with Kevin Durant, and then good old, I can't think of the white center who Kawhi Leonard steps on his foot. We come back, win, and they have no chance after that. Zaza. But anything is possible. No, that's kind of, what do you say after game 7 or game 6?
Yeah, he's like, anything. That was Kevin Durant. Game 7. That's basically.
That game one was, they couldn't recover. That was a big play. I don't know. You lose these game ones when you have a big lead. They're tough to come back from.
I want to take it. Now, that was when you let's start with 2024 a little bit, because this is what I'm saying. Like, the heartbreak was, to me, like, the reason it came up was that Pacers Celtics game 1. Yeah. Like, turning the ball over, up 13, giving up a last-second 3 to lose the game, right? That changes the series. Right? It's not like you lost game 1 in a blowout fashion. You're like, all right, we'll come back in. It's just like, we were there, we had it, and now on the road too, right? You're already down a few people. You have Arthur that couldn't play game 3. So you had all that stuff that they had. So you had that. So the other one was you had Pacers Knicks, right, in the round before, where the Knicks stole it on the Pacers, but it didn't matter. The Pacers came back and were able to win that series. So who knows where that played out. And then the other one was, it didn't matter at all. But Pelicans were up early. So those are the only ones early that this round or this playoff that I remember kind of making a difference. And really, I think this Boston, Indiana, even though I think we all can acknowledge Celtics probably would have won, that game 3 yesterday has a lot different feel if we're 1-1 and we get and the Pacers had finished off game 1 and had that confidence. So that's where the importance, like you're saying, is a mental thing more than anything else, right?
Yeah, to get the game on the road, it gives you a free game in game 2. You can play looser even in game 2 if you steal that game 1. Like you saw with the game 2 was terrible. And then game 3, the Celtics are tightening up at that point. If they're tied in a 1-1 series and they're losing by 18, I believe, at one point in the third quarter with Halliburton out, Celtics are starting to worry. Joe Mazzulla is getting tweeted at all game. You're questioning what's going on. You're looking at you're going to be trailing 2-1 in the series to the Pacers, who are missing their best player in Arthur.
Yeah. Here's some other ones I got. 2018 Finals, J.R. Smith game, right?
Oh God.
LeBron has 51. LeBron has 51.
Smoked that J at halftime.
I think Durant, Curry, Thompson combined for 79 points or something like that in the game. And they end up they had the chance right there. He gets the offensive rebound, right? And call it, and he lets the clock run out. He brings it back out, did a good job, played good, helped the Warriors play good defense.
Unbelievable.
Then we get
LeBron on the bench.
It's like one of the most natural reactions you could ever have, right, on a basketball court.
Absolutely.
It's like there's that one I remember, the CP3 one. I remember with Jordan where he's like, like there was but this one was obviously well deserved. So that one was a game. I mean, again, Warriors heavy favorites, but LeBron gets a 51 triple double. You steal a game. That's one that probably has that same feel for Cavs fans there. You mentioned the Ginobili game. That one was heartbreaking. I showed that on Double Double. I don't know if you caught the video there with it, but Warriors were up by 1 after a Kent Bazemore layup there, and then of course Ginobili hits it on a bad switch over Bazemore to win that game. So they hit the 3. That felt like a real heartbreaker. The Warriors came back in one game too with the Clay first half there as the next game, but that always felt like a stinger, like that like changes the momentum of that series, especially when you're playing a veteran team, and that's what the Pacers kind of were doing against us. It's like you have to steal these game 1s when you have the chance. Or any game, but game 1s in particular. A couple
especially
more here.
When you're a young team like that and you haven't really experienced much success in your career. I mean, I think they won 1 series at that time. They had just a tough comeback to lose to a Popovich, Duncan, Ginobili, Parker team.
Yeah, they just beat the Nuggets, who were, to be fair, they weren't a veteran team either. But we saw earlier in that Warriors series of the Warriors having massive issues in finishing games versus the Nuggets. We saw that in Game 6. One of the worst last 2 minutes you can ever imagine of a game. 2015. This is not necessarily. I don't know how you look at the heartbreak, but it was the Cavs again when Irving goes out in OT. But the mindset of that game 1, when you had Irving, you had him there, you get into OT. They're both playing well. Now he's out. That kind of shifted, I feel like, all the momentum in that series as well. Not saying the Warriors, but that, to be fair, that's Kyrie Irving that's out the whole series. So that makes a massive difference for the Warriors. So I always felt that game 1. 2001 Iverson game versus the Lakers, right? I feel like that was that one. That's the other one that stands out. I wouldn't necessarily say it was heartbreaking, but that's the one that stands out in there.
But the Lakers come back and sweep them in that series after.
So it didn't really have that same feel.
But it was a great game, and it could have been a heartbreaker. It was on that line of type of games.
So that one just kind of qualifies as one that's always stood out as a game 1, obviously, to me. And then the other 2 I have, 2003 Western Conference Finals, Mavs Spurs. Spurs were up 11 at some point in that series, or at that point, and then they win the game very late, steal it late with a couple free throws, and they end up winning that series 4-2. And the Spurs were in their prime in 2003, and they knock them out early in this kind of early Dallas run that surprised them with Nick Van Exel and all that. And then my final one, famous one, obviously, is and considered one of the major choke jobs in the NBA, was Reggie Miller, 1995. Obviously, the famous 6 points there in 8 seconds over the Knicks, right? That was game 1. You steal that, the Knicks lose in 7 games. Ewing's famous miss runner there as well, but that's That's a pretty big game one as well loss there. That ended up being a pretty heartbreaking loss. Maybe the top of the list there. There are heartbreaking loss there. So
Absolutely. So
I think John Starks, he gets fouled actually on the next play after the Miller thing.
They had a chance to tie it.
I think the chance to win it, and he misses both free throws.
Oh God, I didn't know that part was the game. They don't show that part.
You have to watch 30 for 30 again to get that part. So those are some heartbreakers. I thought that was the list I had.
That is definitely the heartbreak. The one that stands out the most to me is the 51 by LeBron with J.R. Smith. Just not knowing, like you just see with the Jackson and LeBron's eye, like that was their chance to get one on the road, and it just never materialized after that. They didn't really even have a close game outside of the game 4 when KD hit the 3 to ice it.
Yeah, that one always. Are you getting? I heard reports that LeBron might be a free agent. Is that true?
Yeah, I mean, according to his agent, he's a free agent. He's not. He'll be back with the Lakers.
Is that where he ends up? Does Kuminga end up in LA? Do they get or somehow do we figure out is a sign and trade free agent or is he a real free agent?
Yeah, I have no idea.
We're gonna assume
LeBron does what he wants.
Wiggins, get out of here. We're bringing in LeBron. Do you think that's what happens?
No, I don't think he'll be a Warrior. I wouldn't mind it. I'd have a hard time rooting for him, but they'll figure it out real quick once he starts.
Don't you think that's the move? Don't you think that's their move, though?
I mean, come on,
we talked about what's going to take them. Like that's the move, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think they'll be able to get him though. I don't think he wants to go to the Warriors. I think it'll be too much of like in Kevin Durant's shadow. They'll be like, oh, he kind of, and I don't think he wants that sort of parallel storyline with Kevin Durant.
Everybody plays for the Warriors at some point. All the stars get everybody. Who do you think he ends up with? Clippers?
I think he ends up with the Lakers. I don't think he's going anywhere. I think he's just going to re-up.
Just restructure.
I think if he does leave, he goes to Philadelphia.
Goes to Philadelphia. Wow, goes out there. Not back to Cleveland to play with Mitchell. No. Made a little run there. He'll get Bronny James. There's a deal in the works.
Bronny James.
In the works. Homegrown.
We'll see.
Douglas.
I hope so. I wouldn't mind it.
Do you think Douglas would be happy about a move like that? You get LeBron, but you have to draft Bronny.
Oh, Doug would be thrilled.
It's a 5-year deal. It's the 5-year. You have to give Bronny.
There's 43. Bronny gets a lifetime deal.
You sit his bet on the 12th man. I don't care what you do. You keep him on that roster.
Did you hear Bronny said he will not sign a 2-way contract?
Stats don't necessarily always play out in the NBA, right? College or whatever. But,
no, absolutely not.
But 2.7 points or whatever that is. He did have the heart issue at the beginning of the year, so he's a friend. It's just interesting. It's interesting. It's interesting route for me to go in NBA wise. So
it might be the only
college was too much for him. You think with his family?
I think it's the best route for him to get into the NBA is using his father as leverage. Like as sad as that might sound, someone wants LeBron, and if we bring in Bronny and it gives like a chance to get LeBron, it gives you a little leverage for Bronny to be like, "This is how I'm going to make my way to the NBA."
And I don't necessarily have a problem with it because
no, I don't either.
And people that do, I feel like that'd be a little hypocritical. It's like I would bet my life on it. There's a few people that have got into any of their jobs because of their parents, right? Like police force, firefighter, like doc, like you have any door. And you have the same thing. It's probably going to help you to get into it a little bit.
It happens all the time, like construction or.
How does Bill Belichick's son end up as a good year? That's
coaching for sure. Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah, all that stuff. I think
it's not what you know; it's who you know.
Exactly on that. So, so you're not a big fan of that, then, LeBron?
No, I don't mind it. I don't think Bronny's an NBA player. I don't. Some people say he is. They say he had a great comment. From what I've seen, he's too small. And he doesn't have like a great handle. And I don't think he's going to be able to get his shot out. Like there was a video of him making threes. And he took like 8 seconds to shoot everything. Like, how wide open is this man going to be? I don't know. I just don't see it. We'll see. I could be wrong. I've been wrong about players before. I'll be wrong about players again.
Yeah, you're wrong about Brunson. That's what we already know.
Absolutely not wrong about Brunson.
You guys still can't believe you thought the Knicks would lose with the Warriors. In what way would the Warriors? The Warriors sucked this year. They did nothing.
What do you mean they sucked? They dominated the East, just like the Knicks did. The Knicks sucked against the West.
They were the next I looked
went
up. They had like the
15-15.
4th best record in the East against the West. They were like way behind.
They were 15-15 though. That's how
yeah,
bad
but like
the East
the
is.
second best
Yeah,
team, the second best team had like
how do we get
16
into
wins.
this again?
They had like 16 wins. The second best team.
So the whole East sucks. Is my point. That's why they be a 10.
I don't think the Warriors are. I don't think the Warriors played well enough to win games like that.
I
Like
think
a
they
meaningful
absolutely
game.
would have beat the. Look at the East; it's pathetic.
I still don't think they would have matched up well against the Knicks if they had their guys there.
I don't think they would have killed the Knicks.
I would completely disagree on this one.
4-2.
Well, I'll give it to you on that one. Draymond, I thought they were going to be able to avoid the 10 seed. We picked him as a 3. They couldn't even make it.
Draymond missed a bunch of games.
Oh, well, speaking of your guy, he says he got fined a lot this year. Let's listen to his comments on it.
He's header outside the NBA. Skip Bayless, for sure. Dude just sit up there and spew hate. I hope I give him a soundbite for a show because it's dying. Like when you're hating on LeBron James every single day, for instance, like there's nothing this man has done to give you something.
All right, I bring that up because I feel like he can't get LeBron's name out of his mouth as well. Do you sense the same thing?
Oh, he's obsessed. I feel like he needs Mariah Carey. So why he's so obsessed with me? LeBron should play it every time he comes around. He's always attaching himself to LeBron, and that's why when you bring up, oh, could LeBron come to the Warriors? That's the one connection that could make it happen. But I don't know. It's kind of gross at this point for me. I don't know. How do you feel about it? Like an NBA player always bringing up another NBA player.
I mean,
it seems like he's always attaching himself to that player, and they haven't played one game together.
That's the thing with me. I'm like, I feel like that's why I think it possibly could happen that he could end up with the Warriors.
That's the way it would happen to those two guys. But what do you think of Draymond always bringing up a player he's never played a game with? Like, is that weird? Is it normal? Do you think he's trying to recruit him? I don't know. Like, who cares if a guy hates another? I mean, obviously, Skip Bayless goes to another level, like Draymond said, and he's right. It is kind of weird that you bring up LeBron James' name every freaking broadcast or every show. But for him to bring his name up as often as he does, it's almost weird in the other direction.
I think he just Draymond feels entitled to the theory, kind of like Shaq a little bit, to where they can be dismissive of people like that. Just haven't, they feel like that aren't on their level, I guess, as they put it, in some ways there. Here's the other Draymond.
But hold on, but you brought up Shaq. Shaq's on a different level than Draymond.
No, but I mean that mentality
right.
of like.
But I understand it from Shaq's perspective a little more than Draymond, who's a Hall of Fame role player. He's a Hall of Famer, but he does a role player's job in most aspects. I'm obviously a little better. That's kind of dismissive of Draymond, but Shaq's one of the top 10 players of all time, arguably. So, like, I understand
I'm not comparing players. I'm just comparing
like
how they get defensive about these things, and that's where their initial
thing.
But
you could understand it from Shaq's perspective more than Draymond.
Well, Draymond's still a 5-time All-Star, so he still probably feels like he has clout over somebody like Skip Bayless that hasn't played at all. So that's all my point is. He feels like I've won these championships. Who are you? Yes, Shaq should feel that more even, but I think Draymond's got to feel that, and I bet guys even below Draymond feel it that don't even make All-Star teams. So that's how I think. Here's Draymond's other thing. This week I thought was kind of course, right up his alley as well.
Wealth coming from situations that most people never make it out. And then you get fined the way we get fined. It's actually not set up for us to be wealthy after we're done playing. This job is not set up the way we're taxed.
Oh, California?
The way we're taxed, the way we're fined. And, you hear about all these programs like this program, this program. That is to cover everybody. This program is to teach this guy this. But if I do something wrong, I lose $100,000. Man, it took my mom 4 years when I was growing up to make $100,000. And I lose that in the night because, what? The referee got mad at me, and he didn't like what I said to him. So I lose $5,000 like that, like on a tech.
There you go, Shaq. Little shout out to your podcast away there. Hey, come on the show. No, but I just say, like, self-awareness, man, is just not there anymore. Like, totally not. They're like the things that stood up. Like, this job is not set up for us to be rich at what?
Wealthy.
Well, maybe for the guys that are like just barely hanging on and being done with that. Then they're, but don't tell me somebody like you is not set up to be wealthy. Like,
wealthy. Yeah.
How many it's look at our judicial system if we want. Like, if you do the same thing over and over again, you usually get a heavier fine the next time you do it. Like that's usually what happens, right? Like, okay, learn your lesson. Like this is what you didn't get it, so we're gonna have to up the ante a little bit more. Like we're gonna have to up the ante a little bit more. Like he's almost at the point where he's lucky he's not fined $1 million at some point. Like,
well, that would be absurd, but he has been fined enough. I mean, I think.
Well, my point is, if you're talking about how many times, it's like
it escalates.
It's just a stupid thing to say from his point of view.
Like I'll bring up Ryan G again, the guy from Memphis. He brought it up. He's like, Mike Conley's never been fined in his career. Like, there's a way going about playing the game where you can remain wealthy by not getting all your money taken away, even though that's not happening. The part that offends me the most is him saying, "Oh, with the taxes, I'm paying the same freaking taxes. You're paid more because you make more, obviously, but same percentage is coming out of my paycheck that's coming out of yours." Like, and you could easily have changed teams and gone to a state, tax-free state if you wanted to. You could have gone to Texas, but your situation was better in California, so you decided to stay. So don't complain about what you have to pay to stay in a better situation that's best for you and your family. Like, it's kind of weird. It's offensive in a lot of ways for him to bring that part of it up.
It's ridiculous. I want to get it up because it's kind of a local thing. Draymond played good basketball this year, but some of his takes are just getting, I don't know, a little bit. I don't know. I guess you could say, well, you wouldn't like it if you got fined, $35,000 for like, up to my salary or something. But it's like, yeah, but at the same time, if I got like 85 technicals before that, it's like there is like this thing that so I don't know. I just thought it was kind of ridiculous to get away on that.
The part I do feel bad for is if you're like when it's NFL preseason and a guy hits a guy in the head and he's getting fined like $15,000 and he might not even make the roster. That's where it gets a little absurd. Like, how the hell is this guy going to pay for that? Like, obviously, I don't know. Those are the ones that are where he could be right, but in Draymond's situation, he's dead wrong.
Basketball wise, I'll keep it moving here a little bit. Catlin Clark seems to be not shockingly taking up a lot of the media airspace a little bit. Even Becky Hammond's chimed in a little bit. She got a little, I don't know. I wouldn't even say she got heat for anything. Just like it's just something that just continues to snowball. I feel like these like things, like, you know what I mean? Like the conversation goes, it gets bigger. It always ends up. It feels like back at a little bit of race every time, right? That's what it just always feels to always get back to. Didn't Clark just get like a $13 million or like a $28 million Nike deal or something like that?
Yeah.
And then, people come out. I don't necessarily, and let's listen to Becky Hammond's comments on it first here, and then we'll kind of go from there on it.
It's not there, knock it off. I'm just wondering what you meant by that, because it's being misconstrued a couple ways.
Well, I think it's construed as some of our minority Black and brown women are hating on her because she's white, and that is not the case. Let's take Caitlin out of the picture. What I think is upsetting is it's not about Caitlin. Caitlin, give her flowers. She's done stuff that no man or woman, Black or white, has ever done in college basketball. Give that woman her flowers. But what it does is it has highlighted how Black and brown greatness has not been celebrated or valued as much. That's what I was talking about.
Interesting comments there from Becky Hammond. Obviously, one of the best coaches in the world at this point. Like doesn't have like isn't a coach in the NBA. Let's put it that way. What do you make of those comments? I don't know. I don't think she's like, there's no race bait there. I think what she said was very accurate, but I don't know. There is like a little part with it. Like I'm just trying to understand like why we have to keep going to that. Maybe I'm just not feeling I guess it unfair. I guess that's what it is. I guess that's kind of what it's suggesting, right? A little bit.
Yeah. I think it suggests that people don't want to watch brown and Black women, which I don't think is necessarily true. I think there is greatness before Catlin Clark in the WNBA. It's just not as fun to watch. Like the style of play is what makes this lady what people tune into and show up to games for. I don't think it's a race. I think maybe media outlets will use her because people are showing up to the games and tuning in when she's on. There's been like $3 million or $1 million people have watched WNBA games this year. There were none last year. Yeah. Two of them that had the fever. The one that The third one with the lowest of the million was a game right after a Fever game. I don't know. I don't know how this stuff works, how someone becomes popular. Like, obviously it's media driven, but it's also people
I think
who
it
show up.
does help that she's white, but I don't necessarily take it as like everybody's like, oh, she's white. What I look at it more as this is the example I always think of is Tiger Woods in golf a little bit, or like meaning like
Yeah.
you take a sport that isn't predominantly that race, and whether you want to say it or not, basketball is primarily played by black. That's just the way it is. It's getting more and more
The
other
best basketball players are usually
exactly. They're black. And so Caitlin Clark comes a rare. It's a little rare. I do think that part does play a factor. And there probably is a little bit like you're probably getting an Iowa fan base that's now more engaged in certain things, right? But you have like certain factors with that. But I also take it to like they have to be good at the same time. Like they can't just like have that to call what would be their like parts. That's why like you had I think like people like Tiger Woods in golf, right? Goes to a sport that basically all white golfers at that time. Here comes a black guy playing golf, and he's able to dominate the sport. I just think people's mentality, the way our minds think, is also like it's not even. It's just rare. Like we think it's like an underdog thing when it really isn't. It's just it's something new dominating a sport that our eyes aren't used to seeing. Tennis comes out that same way with the Williams sisters. I don't know what's going to happen, but I always feel like this white guy coming up that's going to Duke's getting a lot of extra hype because he's white. You know what I mean? You get my point? Like I feel like they're like that's how I look at it more so. I don't know what you think of that.
It's an anomaly. I don't think you're wrong for that. I think that
I just think people's minds go there too.
But I think Breonna Stewart was the MVP of the league, and she's white. Like I think it's style of play. Like you bring up Tiger, people didn't like Tiger when he first came out. There were a lot of there were announcers that got fired for things they said, and can't think of the guy's name off the top of my head. But Tiger Woods style of play, people were going to tune in, and it generated a bunch of money. And the next step is Caitlin Clark has to prove she is what she is. She's not going to stay this popular if she doesn't get better because she's not performing at a level where it matters right now. She's new. So she has a year or 2 years maybe to get like way better. Her numbers aren't bad, but her just efficiency's been terrible. So she has to get better to keep on this trajectory. The media won't play this out if she's not good.
Thanks, Jordan. Appreciate it, man. Happy Memorial Day out there. Thank you for your service. As I can tell you every time I see you, appreciate you. You have a good Memorial Day out there. Appreciate you tuning in as we're talking a little kind of Caitlin Clark and how Becky Hammond's comments there. And like I said, nothing wrong with her comments, except for I think me and you were just trying to, for us, I think as we're getting older, this topic is just kind of, it's just happens more. I feel like it just kind of comes up more. And that's where I kind of look at it, like where I was saying, where it's like, I think it's a little bit of a rare thing. I think race does play a factor in that side of things. And I think this, if we're being honest, I think politics play a little factor too, right? Like Caitlin Clark at this point hasn't really come out with anything. You take that comment over you want, but also she also hasn't like done anything like crazy. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like in the sense of like been politically divided. And I think in WNBA we've had players like that, right? And so when you do that, you get pushback from other sides, and that's where I think like Tiger Woods had a lot of success, right? Also was he just stayed the line as well, which I think helped him with that. When you say like the other race, because you're kind of getting some of that narrative. I think that was part of it for a little bit with it. And so I do think politics in that sense play a factor as well. Right now, Caitlin Clark, what I've seen, hasn't really done and said too much in that area, right? Where it's going to draw like, from one side or the other yet. You know what I mean? So those are some things I kind of noticed with her too.
Jeez. I mean, if you look at just to show how popular she is, if you look at attendance numbers, I was going to do a short on this. I'm just going to do it now. They played the Storm. The Storm have 2 home games. They played the Lynx and the Fever. The Lynx was 8,500 people showed up. When they played the Fever, 18,000 showed up. So we're getting a huge boost. Those are sellouts in the NBA arena. Like, that's big numbers. The Liberty played the Fever and Storm 17,000, 9,000. The Sun played, it's a smaller arena, 9,000, 6,000. Then the Sparks, it's so like they played the Fever 19,000. Then the other 2 games they played at home were only 3,000. So there's this draw too. People are showing up. There's numbers that prove that people are excited. The league wants to build on this. It might be because, geez, It might be the American public. Is he white? Is that why they want to go? I really think it's just a style of play. He plays a style that people can relate to. It's just like Steph Curry. Like, oh, I can go out and shoot from 30 feet. Obviously, no one's as good as them, but it's something like, it's not dunking. It's not like something the average person can't even try to do.
You're right. I like that. It's new. It's a style everybody likes. And like I said, I think some of those other two factors play a little bit too. Like, stay in the line as well in your growth of being a mega superstar. Let's put it that way.
Which he has to progress.
Yeah, exactly. So, interesting topic there with it. Curious how that. I'm sure this will continue to go as we go. I think they've won their last 2 games, so we'll see where that goes.
Did they beat the Aces yesterday?
My brother continues to give me crap every time. He's like, "Oh, the WNBA." Like, well, let's see. Like, how many games did you watch, buddy? He's like, "Well, I haven't watched it yet." That's what I thought. You shut your mouth. So, Casey, if you're out there, Jordan, again, the guy there. Thanks, man. Appreciate it as well. All right, so I have that on my mind as well this week. Speaking of college sports, I guess now when they have something come out where they're basically just. The NCAA and its leagues are moving forward with a multi-billion-dollar settlement agreement that will allow schools to directly pay players for the first time in the history of college sports. Well, let's be honest, this isn't the first time. There's a reason
pay people legally.
There's a reason Eric Dickerson ended up with a car as Corvette with the Pony Express. You got that for a reason. College sports are dead. It's basically just a big minor league system, right?
Yeah, I would say so.
For football and basketball, I mean.
There's still so much things that have to unfold. Like, what happens with Title IX? Because they're going to be like, we want half of this. It's part of the deal with Title IX. Like, you can't just abandon it, right? Like, where does this go? It's going to get interesting because it's publicly funded college schools. How do they deal with this?
You get 9% of it. That was what you were reading on this one. It's Title IX. Remember we did that. No, that's a good point. Where's that? But it just sounds like it's almost like you're recruiting a player. But where does that booster's money go? And like when a booster gives that money, are they saying, how it's kind of like what I think it's going to be. It'll be curious what stipulations NCAA put on schools to do that, because obviously if you're a basketball school. Some schools don't have football, program, so it'll be different how they kind of use that money. But basically, it's weird too because college baseball, you have that rule where you have to stay 3 years, right? If you go to college, you have to stay. So it's weird how I don't know. It's odd how they're going to do these things going forward. Like,
are they gonna sign these guys into contracts and lock them in for 4 years now? Like that? Like what? How does this? Go.
Does that give college baseball an advantage over the minor leagues now because they can maybe pay guys more?
Yeah, it gives them a shot. But are people? Yeah, maybe. But are people going to tune into college baseball? Like, do people tune in the minors?
People in the South do all the time. And people, I mean, I'm just saying it's a big sport now, and then in like regions. I've actually got a little bit more into this time of year. I actually do like it because it's on ESPN. It's something to watch late. They're on kind of late at night and stuff.
I'd rather watch the softball games than the baseball games.
Softball's good too. Well, anytime you get to tournament play, I'll kind of tune in.
It's interesting.
Get some metal bats sounding. You get
more paid, less sting.
Yeah, a little bit. And then you get Fleming does a few games there, so I like it.
One of the best.
One of the best, as you said. So, anyways, basically, college sports have become just I guess what it's always kind of been, but it's. But the way that you can transfer off of it, it's lost all of its luster.
I feel like they're going to lock them into contracts now. Like you're going to have to stay for 3 years.
That'd be interesting.
Or 2 years. Football 3 years. NBA. Maybe it's better for basketball. You get these contracts. You got to stay for 2 years if you want this money. Like, maybe they can actually build something on these basketball programs.
What's the Deuce guy name again?
Cooper Flag.
This guy. We'll give you $100 million for 4 years of eligibility.
Oh, God.
That's what I'm saying. Like, how crazy does it get at one point, right? Because think about it, the school would make even more than that off of them. You would think.
For sure. Are they gonna have a salary cap?
Salary security for all the guys.
The college kids after 4 seasons played together are just as good as the worst NBA team.
Yeah, exactly. We got to set the limit. We got to set it again. All right, so you had that. That was kind of on mine as well. You had the NCAA. They had that. TNT crew we talked about a little bit this week on Double Double. Looks like they might be. I love how Charles Barkley said the morale is down. The Like, I don't know why. Like, kind of like I would be. I'm not trying to make fun of it, Charles, but it's kind of funny to hear your team out there. The morale is down. They still got one more year. It sounds like Ernie would be the one that wouldn't leave. It's kind of interesting. It doesn't really matter to me in the grand scheme of things where the NBA goes at this point, but the NBA on TNT post game, that whole thing, it is used. That's second nature, right? Going to that channel to watch something. So, and it did matter at some point, especially younger, what the post game said and like how Charles took things. Like that did matter a little bit.
It was fun. Like Charles had fun with it, and you as a fan, you got to either rile behind them, or you got to use it as like the Warriors use it as fan base hated Charles in a fun way. I felt it wasn't like a malicious way, but man, they'd get on him when Charles would say, "Oh, jump shooting team can't win," and he'd always downplay the Warriors' successes. And like it was just for me after the game, it was like, all right, especially when the Warriors were playing, let's hear what Chuck, Ernie, and Kenny had to say.
Yeah, it's just one of those staple shows. I feel like that was you always kind of felt like what's going to be there. But I do at some point it's coming in. I'll be curious what they do with the NCAA too. Sounds like with them there as well. So it looks like probably since CBS is with TNT, probably wouldn't happen there as well. So that show's gone. It looks like as well. Your Giants, if they get down by 4 runs, they come back. It sounds like.
One of the best come from behind teams. They're on fire right now. They brought up the Dominican live brained hitters, and they've turned this thing around. They got Patrick Bailey healthy, who has when he plays, they have a better chance of winning. He just impacts the game in a different
Grand slam the other night.
Yeah, beautiful grand slam. He plays some of the best defensive catcher.
The Pirates pulled.
And he's clutch. Like he's hitting 300. He gives you something from behind the plate, and that's always an added bonus because most people don't get anything from the catcher.
Now, are you a little weary of Matthew Chapman still, or has he turned it around?
He's been on fire, but that is what Matt Chapman does. He has weeks or even a month where he's on fire and then won't hit for 3 months.
Now, I might not be able to bring this up Thursday because it might be too far out at this point, but I wanted to get a little seventh inning. Like this strike 3 call was one of the more interesting ones.
3-2 pitch. Strike 3 called. It was like Lindor was just taking.
3-2 pitch. Yep, that was odd. I don't see that all the time, Tyler. What was that? That was awful.
Yeah. I remember Bryce Harper doing this a couple of years ago where he took like 5 straight pitches and it went 3-2 again against somebody. I can't think of who it was. It was a lefty. But yeah, you don't see it. There's got to be more to it than just I can't see the spin on the ball. It seemed like a little protest in the box.
Kobe, I'm passing to my teammates type of deal. Yeah.
Show you how good they are.
I'll give you I love that too. I'll pass to my teammates. I'm not going to drive or set them up. I'll just give them the ball.
Stand 10 feet behind the line.
No, you wanted it. I'll sit here and do nothing. So play 4 and 5. Good luck. So maybe that's what it was. A little protest from that side. All right. So those were some of the things on my mind this week. I feel like, did you are you into any golf at all?
I like playing. No. I mean, I'll watch the Masters.
Are you starting to get it? Have you played it recently? I'm starting to get the itch again.
I played twice in the last month, which is more than I haven't played in like 6 months before that.
Jealous. I'm also getting into. I feel like I'm getting a little bit more into wrestling a little bit more too.
Wrestling?
Not watching the matches as much, but just kind of some of the storyline things.
Before we get to wrestling, I joined the golf league this year.
Oakmont?
Oakmont.
Oh,
yeah, so every Tuesday, or not every Tuesday, like 2 Tuesdays out of the month, I go out and play. It's so much different than playing regular golf with your friends.
There's
a little more pressure behind every shot. Like you hit it out of bounds, you're like, I got to count 1, 2, 3, hitting 4. Damn it.
Yeah. Have you played yet?
Yeah, I'm 2-0. I've won 3 out of 4 points.
And then, so the other guys, you feel like pretty good that you beat, or are they?
I mean, with handicap, that evens everything out. Gotcha. I'm a 10 handicap for 9 holes. So,
all right, so 20
right now, so that's not very good, but
that's not bad.
Some worse guys.
Yeah, I got to get out. I got to get out more. This now the school's almost out here. 2 weeks away. We got June 7th, so we're almost there. I got tomorrow off. Maybe I should hit some golf balls. All right, hey, Well, we'll do wrestling.
Wrestling. What did they say about wrestling?
Well, we'll do winner loser of the week here. And one of my winners of the week is I feel like I'm starting to I get an itch to watch like some of the old stuff again, and like just some of the like storylines that I kind of forgot about in the past, like Attitude Era. Like I wasn't really into it then, so it's kind of funny to look back at some of the stuff that I actually didn't even know, like DX stuff. And a lot of these guys have their own like podcast now, so you see a lot of like shorts that come out about stories and stuff like that. And I don't know, for some reason I'm finding some of those interviews and stuff more interesting.
Yeah, the wrestling's great. It's always just the entertainment of it. It never loses. It's almost like gets better as it ages.
Yeah, that's
In
kind
a
of
lot
what
of
it's.
aspects.
I notice I'm not like super into watching. I've never really been always into watching the actual matches itself. Right? That's
Yeah,
not
I'm with you. I like the soap opera aspect of it. The
Yeah,
male
exactly.
soap opera aspect of it.
like Stone Cold with all like that. I forgot how much him and Vince McMahon had a thing.
Oh yeah, those are
It was like the whole.
classics.
It was basically the whole like year worth of content, just him and them going at it.
For sure.
Where's
Even
Austin?
too,
There's a rattlesnake in the couch. Like
he's
that.
beating up his boss.
He's
He's hitting him with a bedpan.
He just Stone Cold. He just Stone Cold. Oh, he just gave Stephanie McMahon a stutter. What's that? And then he gives the wife the stutter too. That one, or like his old lady at that one point, like that was Linda. I think it's Linda. Yeah, he gave the whole McMahon.
The divorced wife.
That was just crazy. All right, winners, loser of the week. You got any winners?
I don't even know. Did we talk last week? I have Alexander Usyk beating Tyson Fury. That's a great boxing match. I don't know if we even
Is
talked
he
about
heavyweight
it.
champ of the world now?
Yeah, he's undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, and he's not even a big guy. He came in like 60 pounds under or 40 pounds under Fury, which makes me wonder why does 3 pounds matter so much in these lighter weight divisions. The heavyweight can handle 40 pounds, and no one says a thing. But that's my winner. And it was a great fight. He came back and really put it to him in the later round.
All right, so you got that winner of the week. Any other winners for you? Or that one?
I mean, the Giants, obviously, they've just been on fire. The Chapman, Wade play was just ridiculous on both ends. So that would be my other winner.
This is winner. This guy's effort in center field. This is like little league effort. Maybe you guys can get some of this in practice.
Eric Burns?
Up in the air.
That's a ping.
That might fall.
And it does.
Look at this. We got nobody covering second base.
And he hustles, and nobody's covering third either.
Unbelievable.
And he gets all the way in third. There's
Now
nobody at
nobody's
the plate.
covering home.
And he will. They get him. Got him.
I have never seen that
Never.
in high school, but never. Unbelievable. Have you ever seen that?
I've never seen that before. In fact, single, double, triple, what do we call that? He just
Well,
kept,
it's a triple.
kept
He
the
got
triple.
caught,
Just got
yeah.
right on running.
Oh man, Tyler, that is hilarious to me. That's like
What effort.
the center, like you get the ball, you go to second. It literally would be like you're chasing your kid around the bases, right? Like you're trying to, like like when they hit it to the outfield, you're the one pitching, and then they run, and you purposely let them get to the bases. That no, you got to get them at the end. That's what that felt like. To me, that's as good as it gets, right there. That was hilarious. Did you see that at all?
No, I've never seen that. That was crazy.
That happened this week. That
What
was
effort.
nuts to me. Nuts. That was so funny to me that way right there. I couldn't believe that. Have you ever had it? Have you ever seen something like what's like you had to
I've never
have
seen
had
a center
some wild
fielder.
plays this year?
Out with a center fielder on. I mean, we've had some. We had a bunt inside the park home run on airs, little league home run.
No, there you go.
We had a couple of those, and you hit that ball in the corner at Sebastopol, it'll roll forever. It's an automatic home run.
Another winner of the week. I have Pirates are going to be retiring Barry Bonds' jersey. Mentioned that a little bit too. I think it's about time that they did that. 3-time MVP.
I mean, just a
Get over the bitterness of it, right? You got that part of it.
good throw to throw out Sid Bream, but just a tad bit late.
Damn Sid. All right, real quick question, then I'll get to loser of the week here. What's your favorite? What's your first favorite athlete you can remember?
Barry Bonds.
That's the first one you can remember.
That I remember. Or
Yeah, like the first one that came to your mind. He was the one, not Rice or Montana. It was Bonds.
it's probably Rice. If it's my first one that comes to mind, is Rice.
For me,
Montana's before me. Young and Rice probably were the guys who
those guys.
like. Thinking
Canseco
Giants.
for me.
Like Royce Clayton almost comes up first before any Giants.
Conseco to me for sure.
Canseco, the
Like,
Bass Brothers.
4 years old. That was like the big deal. You're right. Yeah, he's 88 MVP. Yeah, so it's like
40-40.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of hard up there. All right, loser of the week. Tyler, you got any losers of the
I
week?
got big old Chris Finch, the Minnesota Timberwolves head coach, gets injured. It feels like I'm watching middle school basketball the way they run their offense. I don't know. Doesn't catch the eye.
All right,
I think they
27
need a
feet
new
away.
coach.
He out. Ready to go. Yeah, I love Reggie Miller's comment still. Like, you just
How's
gotta make
Cat
the play.
out
I'm like,
the
how is that a
last
good
8
strategy? I'm like,
I don't know.
what were you gonna say though?
I don't know how Cat sits out the last 8.5 minutes. Obviously, wasn't playing very well, but he can get you a bucket, and that offense was just atrocious down the stretch.
Really bad. Really bad. At least man, he hit a bailout three there. Yeah, it's weird that I said it's kind of weird in that little video I did too. It was like they can't play all 4 of their best players at the same time sometimes. So that's a good issue with it. All right, loser of the week. I don't know if you've seen this video with it. It is a little disturbing, but it was pretty funny. So the category is
the girls' reaction is the best part.
That's definitely the best part.
And off we go. Tavares, right in the butt.
What?
No.
No.
Blake.
This is the best.
Yeah, that's it, I think. Yeah. Much better answer.
No.
Blake gets $1,000. How you doing, Tavares? You've already made an impression on us. I apologize, but I was a little excited.
Oh man!
Classic.
I don't know. That guy's gonna be one of those viral guys you see like 20 years from now, right? Like, let's check in with this guy. What?
Right in the.
The lady, what? It was just fun. You already made quite an impression, Travis.
Tavares.
Oh, man. He probably sweating a little tougher after that one. That would be great. They're a little bit. So, anyways,
Another
I got it.
That's a great soundbite.
Yeah, like so many.
My other loser is another boxing one, Ryan Garcia. I gave him winner a couple weeks ago, but after failing 2 drug tests, the B sample coming back positive. Back to the loser. We're back on the loser end.
What? We gotta get that as a soundbite for sure. We gotta get that one as a soundbite. That one. We use that for everything. The Knicks would beat the Warriors. What? No, we got just all of it. It'd be better. We get Stone Cold to add that what to it. Then we got another what. We got 2 whats we could add to the thing. All right, T. That was a fun show. You got baseball out here. I know you got to get to. So have a good rest of your Memorial Day weekend. Shout out to anybody out there. Shout out to the troops. Appreciate everything you do for us out here. So for Tyler McGurk, I'm Daren Breyer. We will see you on the next one. Peace.